Hey guys, I'm Dimension Jump and today I'll be reviewing Pokémon X and Y, which was released back in 2013 for the Nintendo 3DS. Now, these are the 6th generation of Pokémon games, and they are based in the region of Kalos. Now, like every other region in the Pokémon games, Kalos is based on France, and it kind of shows because there's some of the areas in Kalos have that very French thing. For example, one of the cities in the game called Lumiere City, which is basically the center of all of Kalos. Looks like Paris. You've even got the Lumiere City Tower, which looks like the Eiffel Tower, and there are some other French things in the Kalos region. And also, just like in every other Pokemon game, you basically catch Pokemon, become the very best, defeat 8 gym leaders, and then become the champion. And also, battling an evil team on the side, while trying to fight a legendary Pokemon, depending on which one you fight. You will always fight the box art legendary. And what I really like about Generation 6 is that a lot of the Pokemon are really good designs. For example, Froakie, who's the water starter, is probably the best water starter out of the whole starter lineup in Generation 6, mainly because of its evolutionary line, which is Greninja, who's a water and dark type. And I really enjoy a lot of the Pokemon that are introduced. Like, you've got some new Pokemon, you've got like some new designs. So like, you've got like a dragon that's sort of like got some goo on it, like that, which is Goodra, and it's got like, so like some sort of like gunk on like its neck or something. I can't remember, but here's a picture of Goodra now. And also there was also a new type introduced into this game, which is the Fairy type. Now, the Fairy type is, in my opinion, a really good typing. I do enjoy that it's included into the game, because now it's now super effective against dragon types, because the only thing that dragon types were weak against were itself and ice types. So those are the only two weaknesses that dragon types had before fairy types were introduced. And when fairy types were introduced, it kind of like gave dragon types more of an disadvantage because of the added typing, and also because the fairy type was added in. Some older Pokemon or had been given fairy type, even if they didn't have the fairy type in the generation, so they had been introduced, like Jigglypuff, Snubble, I think, I'm not too sure, Togekiss, and several other Pokemon, and also a new evolution, which is Sylveon. Now, I do quite enjoy Sylveon's design. I think it goes really well with this typing, like a lot of the other evolutions that have been released before Sylveon. And yeah, I do enjoy, like, it's got like, kind of like these ribbons around its head. It's got like a bow in its ear, and then it's like, a combination of like, pink and white and blue, like that's basically Sylveon's design. And yeah, I really do think that Sylveon is a good addition to the evolution of Eevee. And another new thing that was introduced into this game was Mega Evolutions. Now, Mega Evolutions are basically these transformations that certain Pokemon can do during battle, but once the battle's over, the Pokemon becomes their normal forms again. So yeah, and also I think that the Mega Evolutions are probably one of the best introductions or new things that were brought into the Pokemon games, because they gave older Pokemon new ways, like new designs and new ways to fight. So an example of Mega Evolution to the game is Charizard. Now, Charizard has 2 Mega Evolutions. He's got Mega Charizard X and Mega Charizard Y. Now, these 2 designs are very different from each other. So for Mega Charizard Y, Charizard is basically has the same color pattern as it does in his regular form, but his wings are sort of jagged. They're kind of like, sharp. Like if you start if it was like, you know, if you touch something that could possibly, you know, cut your finger or something. And he also has like a extra pointer in the middle of his head. But he's still got like, you know, the same like, you know, typing. He's still a fire flying type. But with Mega Charizard X, which is possibly the better version out of the two Mega Charizards, is that this time, with the Mega Charizard X, it's basically a blue and sort of black colour, and so are his flames, and it's all over the body, and he's got like these sort of claw things coming out of his shoulders, and with this one, the typing for Mega Charizard X is a fire dragon type, and I feel like I think that's a really cool way of adding a dragon type to Charizard, because in his regular form, Charizard is just a fire flying type, even though he does look somewhat like a dragon. But with Mega Charizard X, I feel like that the dragon type added is a good replacement for the flying type whenever Charizard Mega evolves. Now, one of the main problems about Mega Evolution is that with Mega Stones that you find along each game, or basically depending on which one you find or choose, is that you can only collect like 4 or 5 of them in the main game, which is being one of the secondary starters Mega Stones you can collect, so that being Charizard, Squirtle, Charizard, Blastoise or Venusaur. The second one being Lucario, the third one being Gengar, another one being Abomasnow, and I think there's another one I can't exactly remember, but those are like the only ones you can collect during the main game, and the others are unlocked once you've beaten the main game and become champion, and you can only access them at a certain time while doing the post game. And now it's time for some gameplay. Now, the gameplay of Pokemon X and Y is quite nice. When you're not battling, you can basically just go about in a 3D environment, because this is the very first 3D Pokemon game. And just like every other Pokemon game, you can basically go into different amounts of grass and basically just go about until you bump into a Pokemon. And each encounter is random. You don't know which Pokemon you're going to come across. You don't know which Pokemon will be in a particular area. But yeah, and also you can switch around Pokemon if you like choose Pokemon and stuff like that. In the Pokemon part of the lower part on the lower screen. Also, the main button is fight, and you can also choose which moves you want to use. So, for example, Aura Sphere, Dragon Pulse, Bone Rush, and Metal Claw on Lucario. And also, Lucario is one of the many Pokemon that can Mega Evolve. So if you do want to Mega Evolve your Pokemon, just go to the Mega Evolution symbol here, activate it until it starts glowing, then choose one of these moves. So for example, let's say I want to say Bone Rush, I'll choose Bone Rush, and then this little animation will happen, and this will happen if it's like, you know, a one you've already done. It will do it once and then it won't happen again. But if it's like a new one that you haven't done before, it will do that one. I think it's really cool, and I missed. Very much missed. So yeah, and also with Mega Evolution, it boosts your Pokemon's stats up, so all of their moves will be a lot more powerful. And I think it's really cool of how Mega Evolution plays about with stats and stuff, and also depending on which route you're on, there will be different effects on the battlefield. So right here, it's raining, so that means not only is water type moves powered up by the rain, but also that means thunder won't be able to miss, because thunder has a lot more better accuracy if it's raining. So if I just use Water Shark, and even though it won't do a lot of damage to Fungus, as you can see by Fungus's health bar here, you can see that it's doing a lot of damage than it would be doing if it wasn't in the rain. So yeah, and also I do really like a lot of these Pokemon's 3D designs, because they're very, very like different, and they all have like their own styles, sort of like how they want to appear in battle. So for example, with Greninja, his battle stance is kind of like a ninja, because of that, because of his whole entry about how he's like a ninja, and how he throws stars made of water, that being Water Shuriken. And I do really enjoy a lot of how the Pokemon games do this sort of thing. So that's it being it for the gameplay part. Now it's time to go back to the review. So one of the things that I added into the game is that on the lower screen you will find 3 different things you can do. The first one being this sort of super training thing. Now what super training does is that it can help your Pokemon's like defense, attack, special defense, and speed and HP go up by a certain amount. And there are I think there are three or four different training modes. So the first one is like your normal sort of super training, the next one being a lot more tougher, and then the next one being a lot tougher than that, and then so on and so forth. And I feel like that's quite enjoyable, and I think it's really enjoyable because it's it helps your Pokemon get more becomes like more powerful or more defensive or more faster, depending on where you want to put the super training into. And I think that's really that's really like cool, and also it's really useful if you're competitive battling, because you can then you could have like a team where some of your like 2 of your Pokemon are fast and you know and are hard hitting, but aren't that good in defense, let's say. But let's say there's a Pokemon that's good in defense and special defense, but bad with attack or something like that. And the possibilities are endless when it comes to super training, because you can have like, you know, if you want to do a lot of competitive battling and want to do certain things, you can just basically use super training to just help with that. The second thing is this sort of kind of like what happens inside a Pokeball thing, where you could play with your Pokemon and you can do these different mini games. Like you can collect different berries, you can bounce this ball and yarn, and you can also do this puzzle thing, which is my favourite out of the 3 mini games, because it's like, you know, it basically is just like puzzles, and it's just a really cool thing. And the final one is this online thing where you could talk to like other people around the world, and you can trade Pokemon, and also you can go on the GTS, which is the global trade system, and find random Pokemon that you might want. So for example, you could get let's say a Noctowl, and let's say Noctowl is the last Pokemon on your entry for the Pokédex, and let's say you wanted to get Noctowl, then you could find a Noctowl on the GTS and then trade Noctowl with the Pokemon that the other person wants. But I've got to say, for some of the Pokemon that you might want, there are a lot of them that might want like a legendary or mythical, because I've been on the GTS a lot of times, and it's just like, oh, if you want, let's say, a Pidgey, this person might want a Kyogre or something at level 60 or something. So yeah, there are some that happens. Like, you know, if you a lot of the time is a lot of the requests are quite reasonable, but there are a lot of people who do those kinds of things. And the post game, I think is okay, because once you've beaten the main game, some things can happen. So, for example, one of the things you can do is capture one of the 3 legendary birds: Moltres, Articuno, and Zapdos. And depending on which one you, which starter, Froakie, Fennekin, or Chespin you choose, you will get one of the legendary birds. So if you choose Froakie, you'll get Moltres. Another thing you can do is, as I said before, you can find the different Megastones, but you can only find them at 7 PM, and they are only around for like an hour. So I would say try and find all of them within that hour, or find like half of them one day, then the next day I should just get the other half, so then you could get all the Megastones. And I said before, the only problem with that is that these 2 games have different Megastones. Well, some of them are the same, but these 2 different versions have some of the have some ones that are different, and you can only get certain ones in one of the 2 versions. And for my final verdict, I would say these are quite enjoyable. One of the few things that people say that's bad about the game is that it's too easy. I kind of see where they're coming from, because as soon as you beat the first gym, you'll be given access to the experience share, and except for from previous games, it's the only one where you can't put it onto one Pokemon at a time. And the experience share in Pokemon X and Y onwards is that every single Pokemon in your party gets experience, and I kind of see where they're coming from, because it would have made the game a lot tougher if you could have one Pokemon at a time, just having the experience share at once and then passing it on to the next Pokemon, and then the next, and then the next one. So yeah, I kind of feel where they're coming from with that, and they would make the game a lot easier with the experience share in Pokemon X and Y onwards. So that's been my review for Pokemon X and Y. I hope you enjoyed that video. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.